Joe Gibbs Racing has promoted one of their top prospects for next year. Ford has found their next team in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, and the lawsuit just added yet another wrinkle to this whole debacle. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin NASCAR. I'm your host, Andrew. If you're listening to this, you'll probably be listening to this on Thanksgiving or shortly after that at this point. So I want to start this episode off by saying happy Thanksgiving to all those who are celebrating. And I'm truly thankful to all of you guys who are out there listening to this show in its first year of me recording this. So I'm very thankful for all of you guys. I'm very thankful to be doing this. And I'm very thankful for everything that I have right now, and just being able to do this is incredible for me to do, because not everybody can do this at my age. So I'm incredibly thankful and incredibly humbled that I get to do this every now and then. But with that being said, I'm going to be done blubbing for the first couple minutes, I guess minute of this show, and we got some news to cover. So this is mostly stuff that happened in the past couple days. I did not think I would be making another episode at least before Thanksgiving. I'm recording this on the Wednesday or the day before Thanksgiving. I'm actually supposed to go on a little bit of a trip with my family on Thanksgiving for the holiday weekend, obviously. So I did not expect to be making an episode at this point in time, but here I am today because some of the news that I have to talk about is something that cannot be ignored, I guess. So first off, something from last week, actually. At the time of recording, this was released about about a week ago at this point. So, Front Row Motorsports announced the loss of their performance director, Johnny Roten. I believe I'm saying that last name correct. It could be Johnny Rotten, but I think Johnny Roten sounds quite about right. He was the performance director of Front Row Motorsports for the last 3 seasons and has been in NASCAR for about 3 decades. And the team put out a statement saying, quote, "We are deeply saddened by the sudden loss of our performance director, Johnny Roten. Johnny has been an integral part of Front Row Motorsports for the last 3 years and in the NASCAR community for well over 3 decades. His presence and personality will be deeply missed." Yeah, never like to hear this kind of thing. Very sad that around this time too that that family is losing that, especially from our motorsports. So thoughts and prayers are with the entire family of Johnny Roten, and hope that things will be better for them eventually moving forward. Very sad to hear the loss. But let's go ahead and move on to the next thing I want to talk about. I'm never really good at delivering these messages, am I? Yeah, I'm really not very good at these messages, guys. So anyway, moving on. Brent Cruz will be going full-time in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series next season for Joe Gibbs Racing in the number 19 car for next season. I should be putting an asterisk over the full-time label for Brent Cruz next season. He'll be competing in 29 races in 2026. He'll be making his O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. I believe that will be, I want to say that's about 4 weeks into the year. I think that's about 4 weeks into the year. So he will be 18 by that point. His birthday will be on March 30th of next season, so he'll turn 18 about that point. And the eligibility rules in NASCAR is that you have to be 18 and older, or at least 18 to compete full-time in a NASCAR National Series. Brent Cruz is obviously not there yet. He's only 17 still. He's only 2 years older than me, guys. Oh, man. That's crazy. He's only 2 years older than me, and I'm talking about him. Oh my gosh, this dude is insane. Anyway, if I just go off and listing all the accomplishments that Brent Cruz has had to somehow justify what little doubt that people have about him going full-time already in limited NASCAR stock car experience, because he only had a couple of starts last year in trucks. He's had some ARCA Menard Series starts with JGR last season. So anyway, he has just so many things that I have to list off here. First off, he's the youngest to win several titles, including the Trans Am 2A2 Series champion in 2023 and 2024. He was the World Series of Asphalt Super Late Model champion and had a 3 wins in the Cars Tour in that season. So that was 2024, I believe. I'm just reading these accomplishments off. And he was the youngest driver to win the Powery National Midget Series at just 13 years old back in 2021. I mean, that is just insane. And from 2016 to 2021, he had 12 national championships in karting. Unbelievable. And not to mention, in his series debut in the Arkham Nard series with Joe Gibbs Racing, he won in his debut at Phoenix back in February earlier this year. Like, what else is there to justify about him? Like, if there was any doubt surrounding him, like, how could there be? It doesn't make sense. And to wrap it all up, in his part-time schedule with Tricon Garage in the Truck Series, he had 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and leading over 100 laps in 10 starts. So pretty solid resume, I would say, for Brent Cruz to get him that ride in the number 19 Joe Gibbs Racing Supra next year. And again, he will be making his debut at COTA, so he won't be at Daytona off the rip because he can't quite do that yet. So something similar happened with Jake Garcia back in 2023 when he was driving for GMS. He had to have Chase Elliott fill in for the season opening race at Daytona in the Truck Series while Jake Garcia was ineligible. But next week he was out. I believe that was at... Was it at COTA? No, that doesn't make sense. Oh, it was at California. Yeah, it was at California, I'm pretty sure, that the Truck Series was racing at the next weekend, and that's when Jay Garcia made his official full-time debut in the Truck Series. Sorry. That was 2023, guys. Cut me some slack. It's 2 years ago. I can't possibly remember everything about every single series in NASCAR. I mean, who am I kidding? I could totally do that if I really spent enough time doing that, but I really don't want to. I've committed so many things to memory that I really just kind of don't really have the brain space to do that. So anyway, Steve D'Souza, the executive vice president of the development for JGR in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, said, quote, "We are excited to have Brent continue his racing career with us this upcoming season. He showed a lot of success in our equipment throughout the 2025 ARCA season, and we are confident that he will continue to be a top contender in the O'Reilly Series." So there you go. He'll be paired with Seth Chavaka, on the pit box for the number 19 team next year. Seth Chavaka had 3 appearances in the victory lane and had 3 wins in the Xfinity Series Owners Championship with Eric Almirola behind the wheel. So pretty solid resume. If I would say, I guess. Sorry guys, it's late at night and I'm recording this. I'm not very good at doing this at late at night, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, really cool to see Brent Cruz. Again, only 17 years old. He is, quite honestly, the next up-and-coming thing in the NASCAR world, along with Corey Day, along with Connor Zilisch. All these guys coming up. It's very exciting, very exciting. I know. Keep saying that, and everyone keeps saying that about these guys, that these are the most exciting prospects, the next generation of NASCAR. But I mean, quite honestly, they are, because what they have going on right now is really insane. If I had to guess who will be filling in for Brent Cruz in those first couple races, I would have to guess Eric Almirola, maybe Justin Bonsignor, because Justin Bonsignor has been really involved with Joe Gibbs Racing these past 2 seasons in that 19 car. So sounds like it would make a little bit more sense for have Eric Almirola and Justin Bonsignor in some kind of capacity filling that role for those first couple races of the year until Brent Cruz can take over. So really cool to see Brent Cruz getting his full-time opportunity next season with Joe Gibbs Racing in the number 19 car in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Moving on, earlier today, it was announced that Red Bull will be sponsoring both Connor Zilisch and Shane Van Gisbergen in 25 total combined NASCAR Cup Series events next season. So they didn't give an exact amount for either one, just said 25 in total. That's all we really know. But yeah, Red Bull came on last year in a partnership with Trackhouse Racing. This year also as well, this new partnership between Red Bull and Trackhouse. Red Bull will now be the official energy drink of Trackhouse. Pretty cool contingency, if you ask me, because why not? Red Bull's a very iconic brand. They got iconic. They're very iconic all over the world with their stunts, their everything they have online. So very active. Now moving over to NASCAR with Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch, especially for Connor Zilisch, who is again one of those young and up and coming stars, like I just mentioned, the next generation of NASCAR. And then you got a very successful Australian supercars driver in Shane Van Gisbergen moving his way over to the United States to compete in NASCAR full time, and already had 5 wins this year on road courses in the Cup Series in his rookie season, one Rookie of the Year. So it makes a lot of sense why. So very cool partnership to see. I looked at the schemes very briefly this today. They do differ a little bit. I mean, SVG's 97 car has a little bit more of a blue highlight on his car instead of Connor Zilisch having more of a red and yellow I believe, kind of highlight for his Red Bull scheme. So they do differ a little bit. Maybe not my entirely favorite schemes. I would like to see maybe something else add to that car. I feel like Red Bull would be a very good kind of partner sponsorship, like a co-op uh, scheme with someone else, because I feel like just having the Bull on there leaves a lot of empty space on the car. If you guys don't really know what I'm talking about, just go look it up. You'll find it, and you might be able to see kind of what I'm getting at, because just having the Bull and that logo and not really having Red Bull on the card, like the name, I guess just leaves a lot of empty space on there and doesn't really look that great. Like the color scheme is great, but just the way they maximize the space, I really don't know if I can really get behind that all that much. Anyway, gotta move on, but really cool to see Red Bull back in the sport, at least on a more broader scale this time. Moving on to a report that came out on Monday, AM Racing was acquired by Sigma Performance Service Racing. That is an actual name, Sigma Performance Services Racing. They have acquired AM Racing. It was announced on Monday. This was something that has been in the rumors for at least a month now at this point, because we've heard all the rumors of the Ford teams in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series switching manufacturers. We have come to learn that all those rumors are true, with Haas factory teams switching over to Chevrolet, RSS Racing, Ryan Sieg's team following Haas over to Chevrolet next season. And that really only left AM Racing behind in the Ford camp for the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. But after Harrison Burton left, that left a seat open, and that's when the rumors started to come in that AM Racing could be sold. And now Sigma Performance Racing Services Racing. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Sigma Performance Services Racing. Yeah, try saying that 5 times fast. Sigma Performance Services Racing. Actually, I said that. Wow, I'm actually kind of impressed that I did that. Anyway, so they will be taking over and acquiring AM Racing's equipment for next season, and they will be having a full-time car next season. They have not announced how many full-time cars they will have. I just imagine it'll be one, because that's really all AM Racing could put out last season. I really don't think Sigma Performance Racing Services or Services Racing. Wow, yeah, I'm gonna mess up that racing services part. Oh my gosh, I did it again. Anyway, it's gonna be very interesting. But they acquired the team. Probably gonna have just one full-time car. They will be having a direct technical alliance with Ford Racing, the new rebranded program that Ford has for the entire racing program they have. Sigma Performance Services Racing will also have an ARCA Menard Series team along with a late model program as well. So this will be also kind of the new development system that Ford has going on here, which is exciting to see. Because one thing Ford has not been able to do over these last couple years is develop talent. These last couple years, they've had a lot of their talent poached over to other organizations. I mean, more recently, they've filled Cup Series seats by poaching guys from other teams. Like they plucked Josh Berry to replace Kevin Harvick after he kind of outperformed himself in a relief role for Chase Elliott in the number 9 car back in 2023. The Wood brothers did that with Josh Berry as well, bringing him in over to the Wood brothers. I mean, Joey Logano was a Toyota prospect for quite a long time, made his debut in the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, and Ford eventually plucked him over to Penske. I mean, Penske eventually moved over to a Ford team, I guess, so they weren't originally, I guess, a Ford team, but you get what I mean. But more often than not, Ford has not been able to really develop their own talent. They've had to go out and kind of pry other drivers away from other manufacturers to really fill those seats in their system. I mean, look at what they've done in the Cup Series. Like I just mentioned Josh Berry in the Cup Series, in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I mean, they did that with Sheldon Creed, bringing in a veteran like him. They brought in Sam Mayer over from Chevrolet, but now they're going back to Chevrolet, which is kind of confusing, I guess, in a way. In the Truck Series, I mean, they really don't have any young talent in the Truck Series besides Jake Garcia. And Jake Garcia right now, I don't think is in really that big of a rush to move up the ranks into the higher series of NASCAR. Like maybe he could, but right now the performance hasn't truly been there to justify a promotion for Jake Garcia. But besides that, they've had Matt Crafton for a long time. They've had Ben Rhodes for a couple years now. They've had Ty Majeski, and Ty Majeski a couple years ago was a pretty hot NASCAR prospect in the Xfinity series with Roush Racing in the 60 car. But until that team kind of fell amiss and Ty Majeski had to go back down to the Truck Series, So realistically, Ford has not been able to develop talent that great. I mean, they got Haley Deegan from Toyota, but she kind of flopped as well in the Truck Series, moved up to the Xfinity Series, didn't do very good with AM Racing. Kind of ironic, I guess. So, yeah, Ford, long story short, has not been able to develop talent. But hopefully now with this new team, Sigma Performance Services Racing, SPS Racing, I guess that's an easy way to call it, replacing AM Racing, being the new team to develop Ford talent. Hopefully, that will help Ford elevate their game in the next coming seasons. Uh, I did also see something that they're probably not going to have a big time prospect be promoted into their full time car. They'll most likely have a rotation of Cup Series guys coming down into Xfinity to help those guys possibly get some more seat time because last year in the Xfinity Series, Ford had no guys come down and race some O'Reilly Auto Parts Series races. I don't think they even had any guys in the Truck Series at that point. So that's something that's a little concerning. While Toyota had a good amount of drivers, Chevrolet had a ton of guys come down to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and make some starts. Mostly the Trackhouse guys of Chastain, SVG, and Daniel Suarez. But you also had, I believe it was Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, the Hendrick guys, Kyle Larson, William Byron. I think Hamlin and Briscoe made some starts as well. I think Bell made one as well. So mostly the bigger teams made some starts. I think I don't think John Hunter Nemechek made any starts this year. I think he was kind of occupied with Legacy Motor Club. Uh, but yeah, anyway, Ford has not really had that many Cup guys come down and race Xfinity or Rally Auto Parts Series racing really since Joey Logano when he filled in for Haley Deegan when she got replaced. So yeah, Ford has kind of been at a loss in every single category if you're looking at it that way for the lower series of NASCAR. And I guess that's kind of showed it. I mean, Ford overall has been the weakest of the three manufacturers overall these past couple seasons. I know Ty Majeski won the championship in the Truck Series 2 years ago now. I think Cole Custer was in the contention in his final year in the Xfinity Series, which was 2024. He was still in contention for the championship, but didn't quite get there. Cup Series, Logano obviously won, but Ford has overall, compared to the consistent levels of Chevrolet and Toyota, they have not been as consistent. So Ford has definitely fallen behind, but I can't see how this partnership will hurt them in any way, shape, or form. So this is exciting, though. I'm really interested to see how this team will do next season. Before we move on to the lawsuit updates, I have something that I want to share about. I was scrolling on social media today, actually just a little bit before I started recording today, and I saw this thing from Inside Edition, pretty well known news outlet across the United States and across the world. I guess I should be pretty specific there. Global brand that is Inside Edition, and they had a report about Kyle Busch and his wife, Marissa Busch, and talking about how they were apparently scammed out of $10 million with working with their new insurance company with Pacific Life Insurance, and how Kyle Busch invested, I think he said about $10.4 million in that organization for a new kind of program they have with life insurance or some kind of insurance. I didn't really catch the full details and I didn't write them down in my notes, and I'm not trying to pull that up on my feed right now. I really don't want to do that. So I'm just kind of going off of memory and what I can remember at this point. But anyway, apparently they lost $8.5 million from this investment. And right now, Kyle Busch and his team are working with Pacific Life to uh, get that money back. And Kyle Busch is claiming that they got scammed into this and now they've lost all this money. Kyle Busch was just simply to try and secure his future, the future of his family, the future for his kids, so he can support them when his racing days are over. Because Kyle Busch, obviously in the twilight of his career, I mean, I think he's going to be the second oldest full-time driver in the Cup Series behind Denny Hamlin. I think he's going to be 45. I think he's going to be 46. I think it's going to be 46. Hamlin's up there. But then you got Kyle Busch. I don't think really anyone else is kind of in that zip code at this point. Maybe Logano's kind of getting up there. Oh, McDowell. McDowell's getting up there as well. Michael McDowell's up there. I did see something that McDowell was asked about retiring, but he said he's not retiring anytime soon. Either way, Kyle Busch, towards the twilight of his career, doing this to help support his family, and apparently he got scammed, and Kyle Busch just can't catch a break. I mean, these last couple years, the amount of controversy that Kyle Busch has been in, I mean, frankly, Kyle Busch has been in a lot of controversy over the years. I mean, the Mexico Customs and Border Patrol incident back I think it was almost like a decade ago at this point, with going on a family vacation and brought a gun into Mexico, from selling his team to Spire Motorsports, Kyle Busch Motorsports in the Truck Series, with some apparent controversy. Then he just had a controversy with Rev Racing, the team that he was aligned with for a very long time, had a lawsuit with them, forced pretty much Rev Racing to go out of business in the Truck Series side of things. And then you had the whole rowdy energy drink kind of controversy with all the contents of said energy drink. I mean, Kyle Busch just can't catch a break at this point. Then you had the Ricky Stenhouse Jr. fight. So I guess Kyle Busch is no stranger to that. I shouldn't be surprised, but it just seems like Kyle Busch just can't catch a break. Like, this seems like a lot more stuff than any one driver can really get involved in. Like, just over the course of his entire career in NASCAR, like, this entire 2020s on has just been super rough for Kyle Busch. Not to mention going over to Richard Childress Racing and pretty much shutting up and just being not very good over there at Richard Childress Racing. So, Kyle Busch has just been taking a beating. And after seeing this, that just only reaffirms that belief. But man, talk about bad luck for Kyle Busch. But now we get to move on to the final big story of this episode. Once again, it is going to be some antitrust lawsuit updates as we are about, we're only like 5 days away, or maybe six. I think it's 5 or 6 days away from the trial date at this time of recording. About when you're listening to this, it will probably be 5, actually. So, anyway, we have a bunch of updates that came out over the weekend, over the last couple of days, and some of them may add more wrinkles to this lawsuit and may continue to drag this on as the year continues to drag on, possibly into 2026, which at this point, I just want this thing to end. This sucks, man. I've talked about it so much. A lot of people have talked about it so much. Like, this was going on when I first started, and I was already tired of it. I started this show back in May, or more accurately June, in the Coca-Cola 600, like, right after that race, and we were, maybe about 6 months, half a year into this, and my god, it was annoying then, and it's still so annoying now. Anyway, a bunch more text and emails came out as part of the discovery phase. These were all emails, made by NASCAR to, different officials in NASCAR. One of them was from Steve Phelps, the president, telling the president, Steve O'Donnell, that a quote, a knife needed to be put into this quote trash series, referring to the SRX series, when they heard that Denny Hamlin was going to be running the season opener. This was from back in, I believe, 2023. I'm pretty sure this was back in 2023 when this message was made. And that is a huge kind of notion because the SRX is a defunct racing series, the Superstar Racing Experience. It was a series that ran in the summers of pretty much every single year, owned by Tony Stewart and former championship winning crew chief with Jeff Gordon, Ray Evernham. And that was a pretty cool time to race in. It was brought a lot of cool drivers in, brought in guys like Elio Castroneves over to America to race in those series, mostly bringing in these really cool big names in racing to these small short tracks in these really cool cars and just have a really good time. I mean, Haley Deegan was racing in that, I'm pretty sure. Chase Elliott, Bill Elliott. I already mentioned Elio Castroneves. I think Tony Stewart, the guy who helped start this series, was also racing in there. So it was overall really, really cool. And now hearing these, that NASCAR wanted to put a knife into this trash series, yeah, that's definitely not a good look. That does not really help NASCAR beat the allegations that they are a monopoly and trying to monopolize stock car racing overall. There wasn't, I couldn't get into the documents because they were all redacted and sealed, so I couldn't actually get into seeing the details of this. But the things that really stuck out were on Monday, some more texts were revealed, and mostly there were some of the payouts to the teams after every single race from 2025 and 2024 and 2023. There was a charter sales history list. There was an actual document of the gold codes that NASCAR has, which are a code they have in case the teams do boycott races and don't show up. They have something in place to keep the product out on track. It also had some profit and loss statements from the two teams, 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports. Also, NASCAR was also had some documents in there as well. There were also some emails sent between Steve O'Donnell, Ben Kennedy, and several other big names in the NASCAR organization. Some big names of and officials in NASCAR talking about the charter negotiations, the new charter agreement from that came out in 2025 that started this year, but this is the whole reason that we're in this lawsuit. The negotiations that went on for this new charter agreement. So some of the notes that they took and were kind of messaging between themselves. But what really caught some people's eyes were the messages between Commissioner of NASCAR Steve Phelps and Brian Herbst, the Chief Media and Revenue Officer of NASCAR and the CEO of the Herbst Group, a wealth management firm, which I'm not quite sure if he actually has any relationship to Riley Herbst. That just crossed my mind. I might actually have to look that up. Okay, no, he is not related to Riley Herbst, the NASCAR driver. That would be an insane kind of conflict of interest if he was, because I imagine he wouldn't have a job with NASCAR, the team that he is suing Riley Herbst drives for, uh, 2311 Racing. Yeah, I imagine if he was, I imagine he just wouldn't have a job because that would be a major conflict of interest. But what really kind of caught everybody's eye in these messages were the things that Steve Phelps said about Richard Childress Racing over owner, did I say over? Owner Richard Childress. He said, quote, Childress needs to be taken out back and flogged. He is a stupid wreckneck who owes his entire fortune to NASCAR. If he's that angry, and apparently he is, sign your charter extension and sell. He's not smart. He is a dinosaur and a malcontent. He's worth a couple $100 million. Every dollar associated with NASCAR in some fashion. Total ass clown. They spent millions of dollars chasing speed under the car. He's an idiot. Yeah, I was not making any of that up. Those are actual messages from Steve Phelps to Brian Herbst. Yeah, um, that is a lot to digest and definitely not something to be taken lightly at all. And my reaction to this was, yeah, NASCAR ain't beating those allegations any way, shape, or form. I mean, this is just a terrible, terrible look. I mean, you're just bad mouthing one of the owners that has been a part of this sport for, at this point, several decades at this point. You're going to just do that. That's a terrible look for NASCAR. And especially Steve Phelps, a newly promoted commissioner of NASCAR. And by extension, I guess, you put that on the France family as well. Now, Richard Childress Racing and Richard Childress did put out a statement in response to this messaging, and they said, quote, RCR and Richard Childress are deeply disappointed by the insensitive and defamatory statements made about Mr. Childress in recently surfaced text messages between NASCAR executives Steve Phelps and Brian Herbst. These comments reflect the way certain NASCAR executives have historically viewed and treated many team owners like Mr. Childress, who have devoted their lives to strengthening the sport for its fans, its sponsors, and all those who compete in it. RCR and Richard Childress are equally disappointed for the NASCAR fans with whom Mr. Childress closely identifies, given his humble and hardworking background. Mr. Childress and the organization will issue no further statements regarding these or other defamatory text messages that have recently surfaced, as legal action is being contemplated and discussed with legal counsel. And if NASCAR somehow just doing this has roped in Richard Childress and RCR, that's definitely not very good. And this could mean that the lawsuit could drag on for who knows how long. If Richard Childress gets involved in this, I wonder also what this will set forth and show other team owners in NASCAR, like Rick Hendrick or Roger Penske, guys that have been in this sport for equally as long as Richard Childress. Is NASCAR just attacking owners like this? Like, that can't be good. And what if more messages get revealed like this? Like, I can only imagine what can of worms that can be opened up and the consequences that can come with those more messages as well. So I I just don't know what to make of this. I truly thought the lawsuit could not get any more ugly than it could, but clearly it can, and it has. So let me know down in the comments what you think of all this, how you kind of react, and what you think of NASCAR and its higher ups after seeing all these messages being going back and forth from executives like this. Just for clarification, in my personal opinion, I really don't really have an opinion on Richard Childress. I mean, I haven't really been there to experience his time in NASCAR fully. I've only experienced probably about, at this point, 2 or 3 years of it. And what I have seen is nothing that really moves me to either side. Like I'm super neutral about Richard Childress, but I think that with him in NASCAR, it wouldn't be the same without him. I mean, he had Dale Earnhardt on his team. It made him and NASCAR very big overall. It made him what they are today. So, in my opinion, if Richard Childress were to have something like this happen to him, it wouldn't be the same. And I think that the sport is better with Richard Childress in it than it is without him. But yeah, that will do it for this episode. A bunch of spicy news in this episode. Lots of stuff that needed to be talked about. So I hope you enjoyed this one. And if you did and you're listening on YouTube, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It would really help out the channel and the show. And if you're listening on any other podcast platforms, please consider hitting that follow button so you never miss another episode of this show. And if you like what I'm doing over here, go check out Talking Sports with Miles and Andrew, the other show I do where we talk about NASCAR, or not just NASCAR, sports overall. So baseball, football, basketball, a little bit of hockey, a little bit of soccer, a little bit of everything. You can go check that out. I highly encourage it. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun over there. But I'll be done with this, I guess. That's all I got. Happy Thanksgiving again to all those who are celebrating. Truly appreciate you guys tuning in for this one, and I will see you very, very soon for the next episode.